It is convenient to begin the study of jazz improvisation with the blues and focus on relatively simple concepts such as riffing and one-scale improvisation. Studying blues improvisation offers a solid foundation to the musicians, which one can expand and develop later. One of the most accessible strategies in blues improvisation involves playing simple melodic ideas derived from the blues scale, called blues riffs. In using this approach, the negotiation of the actual changes, chord progressions, is basically secondary, because blues riffs, since they are derived from the blues scale, will work over different kinds of harmonies of the blues. Since the act of improvisation is a complex activity because it involves managing melodic devices, keeping track of the underlying harmonies, play with a good sense of rhythm, communicating with the rhythm section, and being engaged in a musical dialogue with musicians, by focusing our improvisation on the blues, we can zero in on the rhythmic properties of our playing. So using blues riffs will help us to focus on the rhythm of our lines. So therefore, we can prioritize in our improvisation. And the priority goes to phrasing and rhythm. So blues riffs are derived from the blues scale or major blues scale and are characterized by strong melodic and rhythmic profile. On the screen, you can see a couple of blues riffs derived from the B-flat regular blues and B-flat major blues scale. So now I'll ask Christian to play the first one, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's talk about that riff. So it starts on flat 5 on the blue note, right? And then it utilizes another blue note on flat 3, and it ends on scale degree 4. So in terms of its usage over different chord changes of the blues, what I'm going to play now, I'm going to play different chords from the B-flat blues, and I ask Christian to play the same riff. And I want you to listen to the relationship between what Christian plays and the underlying accompaniment. And try to answer the following question, whether these riffs work over different changes. So let's do that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now different chord change. Different chord change. Hear that I played different harmonies and Christian played the same idea, and they worked. They work over different harmonies. So that's the true potential of blues riffs. You can use them in your solo and focus on the rhythm of your phrases and articulation. Each time Christian played that idea, he remembered about playing with a good sense of time and play with those accents on the upbeats. So now let's do the following. Actually, let's play little bit elaborations of that melodic ideas, because you know, after a while playing the same thing might get a little bit monotonous, right? So we should be able to embellish the blues riff with some small melodic devices. So on the screen you can see one of the embellishing devices, basic turn figure that will enhance the presentation of that riff. So let's play the original riff and then with the embellishment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you could hear the second one featured a little bit more melodic activities. Okay, right. So now we can start improvising with that riff using the blues. So what we can do, we can play that riff and focus on its placement within the form. So, Christian, how about playing that riff and every other measure? Okay? So let's do it. Maybe let's pick it up a little bit, okay? 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a good starting point, focusing on the form of the blues and being able to actually use these riffs at specific locations. But, you know, it sounds fairly predictable, and after a while it gets a little bit monotonous, and the listener can actually anticipate your next move. And as an improviser, you should be able to create a little bit of mystery in your playing, right? So now, let's do something different. Let's use the same kind of framework for kind of structure of that riff, but see if you can kind of elaborate that riff a little bit, adding different melodic embellishments, and see if you can displace that figure rhythmically. Instead of starting on end of 1, see if you can start it on end of 3, and so forth. Yeah. So a little bit slower now. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was very convincing, and what Christian did, which was particularly effective, he used that figure first in its original form, and then he started to experiment with different metric locations of that figure. So starting on end of 3 will get you across the bar lines, which is very effective, using space in his improvisation, and above all, playing with a good sense of articulation, time and rhythm, and listening to my comping, right? But it's still kind of very predictable in terms of the melodic content. Remember from the last lecture, we discussed the form of the blues being A-A-B. So the first 2 lines are basically repetitions of one another, and the last line of the blues offers something new. So now, with that in mind, let's see if you can use the same riff, kind of elaborate a bit more, but in the final phrase, measures 9 through 12, try to introduce a new melodic idea that emerges from the previous narrative, okay? So let's do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, you could hear that these first two lines, A and A prime, were basically identical with slight differences. They were kept in the same register, and the final phrase, Christian created more tension, more melodic activities. He extended his range, he went up before resolving everything down. So you can use our ideas, what we just described, as a model for your own practicing rubrics. So you can, for instance, try to play your motivic ideas, your riffs in measure 1 and 3, measure 1 and 4. You can start on different metric locations within the measure. The most difficult ones are those that will cut across the bar lines or cut across formal boundaries. So try to experiment. It always is helpful to have the piece of music in front of you with exact notation, indication of the beginning of your phrases, just to keep you in track. And remember to practice these ideas with the metronome, because metronome can always keep you honest as far as rhythm and time is concerned.